Welcome back to Otaku Review, your go-to channel for in-depth anime recaps and reviews. Today, we're diving into a world where chaos reigns, and the line between humanity and godlike power blurs. Buckle up as we explore the intense and mind-bending journey that unfolds in this epic tale. In 2019, the world is reeling from the aftermath of a catastrophic event that obliterated Tokyo on July 16, 1988. This destruction, caused by a mysterious and powerful explosion, sparked a global conflict that culminated in World War III. Now, 31 years later, the city of Neo-Tokyo has risen from the ashes, but it's far from a beacon of hope. Instead, Neo-Tokyo is a sprawling metropolis drowning in corruption, plagued by anti-government protests, rampant terrorism, and violent gang activity. The city is a powder keg, with tensions simmering just below the surface, ready to explode at any moment. As a violent rally erupts in the streets, we meet Shotaro Kaneda, the hot-headed leader of the Capsules, a notorious Basazoku gang. With his iconic red motorcycle, Kaneda leads his gang against their bitter rivals, the Clown Gang. The streets of Neo-Tokyo are their battleground, and the clashes between these gangs are brutal, chaotic, and unrelenting. Amid the chaos of this gang war, Kaneda's best friend, Tetsuo Shima, finds himself at the center of a life-altering event. During a high-speed chase, Tetsuo crashes his motorcycle into Takashi, a strange, childlike figure with an otherworldly appearance. Takashi is no ordinary boy. He's an Esper, a being with immense psychic abilities, and one of three who have been subjected to secretive government experiments. Takashi had escaped from a top-secret government laboratory with the help of a shadowy resistance organization, but his freedom is short-lived. Colonel Shikishima, a hardened leader of the Japan Self-Defense Forces, arrives just in time with his troops to recapture Takashi. Shikishima, who has seen firsthand the destruction that these espers can cause, is determined to prevent another disaster. Tetsuo, badly injured from the crash, is taken to a government hospital for treatment, but his encounter with Takashi has set off a chain of events that will change him, and the world, forever. Meanwhile, Kaneda and the other capsules are arrested by the authorities, their gang activities temporarily halted. As Tetsuo recovers in the secret government facility, Shikishima and the head of research, Dr. Onishi, make a startling discovery. Tetsuo's exposure to Takashi has awakened powerful psychic abilities within him, abilities that bear a disturbing resemblance to those of Akira, the very Esper responsible for Tokyo's destruction 3 decades earlier. Akira's powers were so immense and uncontrollable that they led to the cataclysm that triggered World War III. Now, the government fears that history is about to repeat itself. Esper Kyoko, one of the 3 remaining Espers, forewarns Shikishima of Neo-Tokyo's impending destruction, a prophecy that strikes fear into the heart of the seasoned military man. Despite this dire warning, the city's parliament dismisses Shikishima's concerns, prioritizing their political games over the survival of their citizens. Faced with bureaucratic indifference, Shikishima begins to consider the unthinkable, killing Tetsuo to prevent another apocalypse. Tetsuo, now aware of the incredible power growing within him, becomes increasingly unstable. He escapes from the hospital, determined to leave Neo-Tokyo and start a new life with his girlfriend, Kaori. However, freedom is not so easily attained. As they attempt to flee, they are ambushed by the Clown Gang, who are eager for revenge. The fight is brutal, but the capsules, led by Kaneda, arrive just in time to save Tetsuo and Kaori. However, this rescue comes too late to save Tetsuo from himself. Tetsuo's psychic abilities, still uncontrollable, begin to manifest in terrifying ways. He suffers from intense headaches and horrifying hallucinations, driving him further into madness. The once meek and insecure boy is now consumed by rage and a desire for power. Realizing the danger his friend poses, Kaneda joins forces with Kei, a determined and resourceful member of the resistance movement. Together, they plan to rescue Tetsuo and prevent the government from exploiting his newfound powers. Back at the government facility, the Espers, Takashi, Masaru, and Kyoko, sense the growing threat that Tetsuo represents. In a desperate attempt to stop him, they invade his mind with nightmarish hallucinations, hoping to scare him into submission. However, Tetsuo's power has grown too strong, and he easily overcomes their assault. Now furious and more dangerous than ever, Tetsuo begins a violent rampage through the hospital, killing anyone who stands in his way as he searches for the espers. Meanwhile, Kaneda and Kei, along with the resistance, infiltrate the hospital, hoping to find and save Tetsuo. Kyoko, using her psychic abilities, guides them to Shikishima and the other espers, who are making a last-ditch effort to contain Tetsuo. However, it becomes clear that Tetsuo is beyond anyone's control. Kyoko reveals to Tetsuo the location of Akira, whose remains are kept in cryonic storage beneath the Olympic Stadium, and hints that Akira might be the only one who can help him master his powers. Rejecting his former friends and allies, Tetsuo sets out to find Akira, believing that only he can understand and control the power surging within him. Using Kei as a psychic medium, Kyoko helps her and Kaneda escape from military custody. Meanwhile, Colonel Shikishima, disillusioned with the government's inaction, stages a coup d'etat, seizing control of the military and directing all forces to destroy Tetsuo before he can unleash another cataclysm. Neo-Tokyo, already teetering on the brink of chaos, descends further into disorder as the city's power struggles spill into the streets. At the Harukiya bar, a former hangout of the capsules, Tetsuo confronts his old gangmates Yamagata and Kai, demanding Kaneda's bike. When Yamagata refuses, still loyal to Kaneda, Tetsuo kills him in cold blood. The once shy and timid boy has transformed into a ruthless and vengeful force of nature. Kai, horrified by what Tetsuo has become, informs Kaneda of Yamagata's death, pushing Kaneda to vow revenge against his former friend. As Tetsuo rampages through the city, cultists who believe him to be Akira follow in his wake, further spreading chaos. Finally, Tetsuo arrives at the Olympic Stadium, where Akira's remains have been kept in cryonic storage. At the stadium, Tetsuo unearths Akira's cryogenic storage, expecting to find a powerful being like himself. Instead, he finds only scientific specimens, jars containing the preserved remains of Akira, dissected for study after the original explosion. Realizing he has been deceived, Tetsuo's rage knows no bounds. Kaneda arrives, armed with a laser rifle, to confront his friend-turned-enemy. The battle between them is intense, with Kaneda fighting desperately to stop Tetsuo from destroying everything. Meanwhile, Shikishima, having tracked Tetsuo to the stadium, orders an orbital weapon to fire on him. The weapon damages Tetsuo's arm, but it only serves to further enrage him, and he replaces his lost limb with a grotesque, biomechanical arm forged from debris. As Tetsuo's power spirals out of control, he begins to mutate into a gigantic, monstrous mass of flesh. The transformation is a horrifying representation of his inability to control the power he has sought for so long. His body, now an uncontrollable force, begins to engulf everything in its path, including Kaneda. In a final desperate act, the espers, led by Kyoko, summon Akira to prevent another cataclysm. Akira's reawakening triggers a new singularity, a massive energy event that threatens to destroy Neo-Tokyo once again. Within the singularity, Kaneda experiences visions of Tetsuo's past, as well as the childhoods of the espers, revealing the trauma and pain that shaped them all. He sees Tetsuo's struggle with feelings of inadequacy and his deep-seated resentment towards Kaneda, who always overshadowed him. These glimpses into their pasts provide Kaneda with a deeper understanding of his friend's tragic transformation. As the singularity grows, it begins to consume most of Neo-Tokyo, mirroring the original event that destroyed Tokyo in 1988. The espers, knowing that they cannot return, agree to rescue Kaneda from the collapsing dimension. They pull him back to Neo-Tokyo just as the singularity reaches its peak. As the singularity dissipates, Neo-Tokyo is left in ruins, and water floods the massive crater left behind. The dawn of a new day breaks over the devastated city. Kaneda, mourning the loss of his friend and the destruction of the city, finds Kei and Kai among the survivors. Together, they ride off into the ruins, leaving behind the chaos and destruction as they look towards the future. Meanwhile, Shikishima watches the sunrise, reflecting on the events that have transpired and the new world that lies ahead. Thanks for joining me on this wild ride through a dystopian future filled with unforgettable characters and devastating choices. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Otaku Review for more deep dives into your favorite anime. Until next time, stay tuned and keep the anime spirit alive.